Hi, Aquarius. So, the hardest part will probably be just in the beginning when you realize you don't know what you need, and then when you realize what you need in this moment, things shift. Your mind, it's free to wander. But the thing is that your body still needs you. It always needs you. But it needs your attention. Maybe more than you realize right now. You may even discover that maybe there's been an ailment going on and now you realize what it is. Now you realize you can take the steps. Maybe you have an indication of what it could be. Now you can take the steps to move forward, and you may even feel releases through your hips and your glutes. Sagittarius rules that, and then Jupiter's in Taurus, which is heavily to do with the body, and that's also another fixed sign. So you may feel even some luck come your way throughout the course of the month as you release. So maybe you do a little bit more stretching or yoga, and you worked on your hip flexors, which also helps your lower abdomen, which also helps your knees, and everything's connected, and I can keep going. But what you may feel inspired to do is speak up or speak to the parts of yourself that may get caught up too much in the idea or the mental and the visual process, right? This season helps you realize that the action that you take within is very important, of course, but the action you can take externally is also important, but you also need to have the emotional bandwidth, right? And sometimes you need to go and then you feel the release, and it may feel like the weirdest thing. Could feel so good at first to take the risk or do or say, meaning say what you need to say to someone if that's risky for you, or taking action, maybe finding another job for some of you, or reassessing how you see your life. Sagittarius gives you the time and the space. Jupiter and Taurus gives you this very bodily, along with Sagittarius too, gives you this bodily emphasis, but also just like this earthly experience of what's really important to you. How does what's important to you get directed in your life? How do you value this? How does it seep into your emotional life? How is this connected to even that? What I've learned is the opposite. If something is happening, then the opposite exists, and it's most likely what you need to realize, see, accept. The list goes on. You just need it. For some of you, this brings you all the way to what you believe in, what's been kind of concrete and not really ever up for question until now. I feel like you have some capacity to expand in this way. There's also an emphasis on what you imagine commitment, partnership, marriage to be. Maybe you have reason to think about these things, or you're just, you're starting to talk about these things, or you're starting to really discover maybe another layer if you're in something committed. If you're in a marriage, or you are wanting to get married, right? Or whatever your idea is of commitment. What we all at times resist. There's a lot of cards that just fell out. I'm going to put them here. It's funny because we have we're always changing, right? But there's something that's always the main focus in our lives. And I don't mean something specific. I just mean like philosophically, like if you're disciplined, like you're disciplined to something. If you are, it doesn't matter if it's good, positive, negative, doesn't matter, right? If you're thorough, you're most likely thorough everywhere, including avoiding certain things that you need to look at some times, which, you know, just so happens that the universe is also thorough and always bringing them up to our attention. It's not always funny, but hopefully eventually we get there. The thing is this brings up a lot of what you've been working hard to you've been really working hard to be more kind or sensitive to the parts of you that you are stuck on. It's like you can't get away from yourself, Aquarius. That's one thing that's true. It's that funny quote that I love, wherever you go, there you are. And it's so powerful when these things come to head like this, when it's like, okay, well, I know you're trying. I know this still feels this way, but every day a little bit can you be open to change? And it's possible that there's someone that comes into your life that shows you that. This Queen of Cups, King of Cups mixture, the Hierophant, could be a Taurus, right? But it comes from that King of Swords. So it comes from that time when you are so ready to not be slow on yourself and to trust these instincts. You know, you can go slow next month if you want. Or next week or the week after. But it just so happens that so for some people work this way in different areas of their life, but mainly I see this in fixed signs, right? You don't think fixed signs are really doing too much. Like, they're out there, they're doing their thing, you know. We don't realize like the behind the scenes work they can get into when they're really serious about something. It could lead them to, of course, like yourself, into a mental pit of rabbit hole. We'll call it a rabbit hole. We can call this reading rabbit hole because that's how it feels. I don't know about you, but all of a sudden, but you felt it coming, because if you didn't, then these things wouldn't be showing up, right? That's the energy of it all, and that's what I'm trying to more so read to you, because that's the way I read. I've realized this is where the uniqueness, and this is where you can appreciate some of you. So we have 10 to 10. What about a bookend? How perfect is that? And in the middle, we even have a 5. Wow. So because this has been fulfilled, right? You finally feeling that receptiveness to yourself, to who you are, to what you offer, to your uniqueness, perhaps. That this deep understanding is something that you've come to value. And so has someone who is entering your life. There's something fulfilling, even if it's within your own nature and how you approach the yang and the masculine in your life. That is a certain fulfillment and a wholeness you could feel within yourself, which can cause the right person to come into your life. Of course, if it's so quickly, a lot of you, for some reason, it's so interesting because in some ways you can be so trusting and jump right in, but for most of you right now, you're in a very cautious area, but you just came out of a Saturn return. Even if you're Aquarius rising or sun sign, you're still going to feel so much of Saturn on and in aspect with your sign. But what's revealed to you, maybe so obviously to yourself, maybe in reflection, if you feel this thing feels too perfect, too good to be true, that could be true. It's important to trust that part of yourself that doubts, but you need to have that conversation with someone you really fucking respect in terms of love or your higher power, because I realize that if you don't really trust those around you with that, you're always going to go to your higher power. Because who do you else have to go to? And maybe you don't need to know just yet. Maybe you do decide after finding all this out, I appreciate you, I want you in my life, but can we move a little slower? That could also be with career if something just swoops in, right? Venus is in Libra, so something's going to happen in all of these signs. And for some of you, it's how you rearrange your home. You might be moving in with someone very quickly. There might be a marriage very quickly. You just jump right in. Even if it's slow, we're moving slow a month from now, then all of a sudden we realize, like, why? What's the point? This is how we are. This is what we know. You trust yourself, right? It's okay to expand, commit to expand. But really, I think you want to find this, or maybe you're exploring this version of, and I like even thought about Valentine's Day. I know it's like just a superficial holiday, but like, because I'm wearing pink and that's a new season. And I was thinking like, oh, love, like if you could have it your way, maybe you would see life more in terms of love, but there's some things that make that feel either extremely hippie or naive. Those are not in the same, I'm not using those as synonyms. I'm using a few different things to explain this. 1, hippie, 2, naive, 3, maybe like too much in the euphoric zone, you know, too much apart from life, or 4, like always being in relationships or something, right? But this for you is just like this exploration of love, and maybe that's what life turns into. Like, we didn't know this reading was I thought this was gonna be a very simple reading, but it turns out we're having a really beautiful, broad yet deep conversation about, you know, you want to be able to explore what marriage means. You want to be able to, it's okay to want that in partnership, to like really talk, maybe to an extent. That's just my speaker turning off, which is telling us that we're gonna wrap up. Life talking to us. Maybe life is talking to you in that way. That maybe the Gemini full moon pulled out of you, or maybe this person's a Gemini. Maybe this person has many people in their lives and you welcome that. You welcome the change, even if this is a deep friendship. You welcome it because you can see that it's something and the kind of love that you need and that you also want. It's the kind of love that you put out there. It's okay to be stubborn about those things, because you know that if you're committed to something, you know, you're all in. Look at all these fun cards. Boom. And to the end of nothing less. Another 10. This is the change you've been awaiting and preparing for. And it'll probably wrap up in the spring. But you're seeing yourself in a way that I think even if only you, but not only you, should celebrate, Aquarius. You know, when you're finally ready to deal with something, we deal with it in every which corner. And I think it's really helpful at this time. I'm sorry this was such a close-up. Hope you got all the cards. I will see you soon.